Hello, everybody. My name is Olga Winzenried. I'm originally from Russia, but living here in America. 10 years ago, big losses happened in our family. First, my father died of cancer, and then the cancer took my son. A year later, I was diagnosed with precancerous polyps in my colon, and it was a turning point for me. I realized that the doctors of official medicine are powerless to help people with this disease. And I started to look for information, and I found Gerson therapy. The more I was learning, the more I was surprised that people know very little about this powerful method to cure cancer. I hope people will forgive my English. The most important for me would be that people would know about that, be aware about that, and there is a cure for cancer. Today, I have a privilege to talk to Dr. Patrick Vickers about this powerful method that literally saved a life. Dr. Patrick Vickers is a director and founder at Northern Baja Gerson Center in Mexico. His clinic, one of the premier clinics in the world for treatment of advanced disease, including cancer. This clinic specialized in the natural treatment using the Gerson therapy. Dr. Vickers and his clinic have been in the epic documentary, The Truth About Cancer, a global quest, and his patient actually been in a movie, The Beautiful Truth. I'm very excited to have Dr. Vickers here with us on our anti-cancer conference. Please listen to him very, very carefully. And if it's possible, please share this information with other people because it could save their life. Welcome, Dr. Patrick. How are you today?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really good, thank you. I'm down here at my clinic in Rosarito, Mexico on the ocean and just enjoying the view from our 21st floor clinic. So yeah. It's always nice to be here and get my juices and my enemas, and so I'm good.
Yeah, I saw some pictures. It's a really very beautiful place there. Actually, I saw a patient sitting on a balcony during her treatment, IV treatment, and she just was enjoying of the view, and she was so relaxed. Okay, please tell us about Dr. Mark Gerson, why he was called the genius of the time, and why did he devote his entire life to cancer treatment?
Yeah, so I hope my internet here can service our interview. So if it doesn't end up working out, we can maybe do it another time. But yeah, Dr. Gerson, I mean, what can you say about him? Nobel Peace Prize winner, Dr. Albert Schweitzer, called him the greatest genius in medical history. And I had the privilege of living with Dr. Gerson's family. Dr. Gerson died in 1959, but I lived with his last living daughter, Charlotte, who passed away now 2 years ago at the age of 97. So Dr. Gerson, you know, he was reversing virtually every single disease between 1910 and 1959 when he died. And he was most renowned for having reversed advanced terminal cancer. And the way he came up with his treatment was simple. He was suffering from severe migraine headaches. When he cured himself of his severe migraine headaches back in 1900, when he was a student in medical school, and then when he graduated, he started using his migraine diet on tuberculosis patients, when tuberculosis was killing 1 million people in Europe. And he was completely reversing tuberculosis in advanced stages. In fact, Albert Schweitzer's wife, Helena, had 6 months to live with terminal tuberculosis, and Dr. Gerson completely cured her. And Charlotte, his daughter, until she died, she was the longest living Gerson survivor because her father cured her of advanced tuberculosis when she was 12 years old. So he was treating tuberculosis successfully when someone who heard about his treatment for tuberculosis was dying of terminal cancer. And she approached him and begged him for his tuberculosis treatment, but he wouldn't give it to her because he understood the political problems of treating cancer with diet and nutrition, even back in the 1930s in the United States. He was in the United States at the time. And so she begged him, and he wouldn't give her the treatment for cancer. And she continued to come back again and again and again until finally he agreed to treat her in secret. And he completely cured her of stomach, gallbladder, and liver cancer. She had all three. And at that moment, he said, I can no longer deny the fact that I can treat cancer, regardless of the consequences that he would suffer, And he dedicated the rest of his life to treating advanced cancer. So that's how essentially the Gerson therapy was born. You know, and Gerson was a German Jew. He was born in Poland when it was under German occupation. And then when Hitler came to power, he moved to the United States ultimately, where he set up practice in Manhattan. And the moment the US government and the medical profession found out that he was reversing advanced cancer in virtually every single disease, they wanted to destroy him. And they did.
Thank you very much. It was really very interesting story about this patient. He cured all of her diseases. And now, could you tell me, please, a brief story of, Jews, good, great. Brief story of you and how did you get into cancer treatment by Gerson method?
Yeah, it's a great story. You know, I wanted to be a chiropractor since I was 11 years old. I saw a miracle with chiropractic when I was an 11-year-old boy. And it motivated me to become a chiropractor. And so I was 1 year away from graduating chiropractic school when Charlotte Gerson came and spoke at my school one weekend, and I would spend the rest of my life doing. And so hold on one second. It looks like, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear, but a little bit bump there.
A little bit cut. Yeah. So Charlotte Gerson came and spoke at my school, and as soon as she opened her mouth, I knew that that's what I would spend the rest of my life doing. And so I graduated from school, and then Charlotte invited me to come live with her at her home in San Diego, where she had all her father's handwritten files of all his patients from 1910 to 1959 when he died. And I'm one of about 5 people who've ever gone through those handwritten files. And I did so for about 2 months. And so that's how my passion for the therapy was born.
I heard you were literally living in your garage.
I'm sorry?
I know that you were literally living in the Charlotte Gerson garage to have access to all these files from her father.
Yeah, that's right. So she had all his files in her garage since her father's death in 1959. It was remarkable. It was absolutely the greatest experience of my life.
Yeah. And what is the foundation of Gerson therapy? Why this method is so successful?
You know, 7 movies have been done on our work. It is the most renowned therapy in the history of medicine for being able to reverse advanced cancer. Why? Because it's the most difficult. It requires a complete radical lifestyle change and dietary change. And the patients are consuming 20 pounds of organic fruits and vegetables every day, mostly in the form of juices, right? And they do get 3 cooked meals every day. So the therapy is so successful because it's so intensive and it's so deeply rooted in nutrition. Cancer patients and diseased patients have destroyed their bodies through lifestyle, environment, diet, and they're so depleted. Their immune systems have become so depleted of nutrition. And the reason why the Gerson therapy is so successful is because it restores the body's nutritional status. If you ever heard Charlotte Gerson speak, she said, the causes of disease are deficiency and toxicity. And it's those 2 things that the Gerson therapy addresses greater than anything. It addresses the deficiency with the 20 pounds of fruits and vegetables in the form of juices. And then it addresses the toxicity with what? The coffee enema. And the coffee enema is the most powerful way to detoxify the human body. And Gerson made the coffee enema famous. So our patients are getting the juices, they're getting 3 meals a day, they're getting 4 to 5 coffee enemas a day, and they're getting very specific supplements that are specifically geared towards the production of energy on a cellular level. That is the secret to healing and curing disease, is reproducing energy on a cellular level. When you see someone who's sick and or dying, what do you notice? They're lethargic. They're tired. Why? Because they've lost the capacity to produce energy on a cellular level. And so the immune system requires massive amounts of energy to cure a sick and dying body and to heal and to maintain a healthy body. It requires energy. And so everything we do is based on the production of energy on a cellular level. And nothing does that better than the Gerson therapy. Because how does the human body create energy? Sugar. Sugar from fruits and vegetables. But the body also needs another thing to convert that sugar into energy. And that's oxygen. You cannot convert food into energy without oxygen. So Gerson was adamant about restoring the body's ability to oxygenate itself. Now, what does that mean? Otto Warburg, he won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1931 for proving cancer can't survive in a properly oxygenated body. So what does that mean? Does that mean we have to walk around with oxygen, breathing in oxygen from an oxygen tank? No, that's not what he revealed. He went on to talk about how the body's primary factor in its ability to oxygenate cells and create energy was diet, was the kind of diet that you eat. How many times in natural health have we heard alkalinity and acidity, right? Alkalinity promotes health, acidity promotes disease. But what does that mean? We hear that all the time, but what does it really mean? And this is what Otto Warburg went on to talk about. When we're talking about alkalinity and acidity, we're talking about pH, the pH of the body. What is pH? pH is potential hydrogen. So by definition, when you are acidic, which causes disease, you get a buildup of hydrogen in the body. And that prevents the body from being able to oxygenate the cells. Why? Because when you have cells and the blood, as oxygen approaches the cell to go into the cell, it literally gets repelled away. You can't get oxygen into the cells. So where is this hydrogen acidity coming from? Diet. It's coming from diet. When we eat cookies, cake, ice cream, butter, meat, cheese, oils, what are those high in? They're high in saturated fats, right? You've heard of saturated fats.
Yeah.
Well, what are fats saturated with? They're saturated with hydrogen. That's it. That is one of the primary causes of disease today. Our diets are so high in processed foods, saturated fats, cooked oils, hydrogenated oils, margarine, plant-based butters. Those plant-based butters are so highly saturated. Margarines, right? So what's happening? Your cells, they have a cell membrane around them. That cell membrane determines what can go in and what must go out. And that determination is completely dependent on the electrical charge at the level of the cell membrane. Now, what is that cell membrane made up of? It's made up of fats. But what kind of fats? Whatever fats you're eating. Whatever fats you're eating is going to determine the electrical charge at the cell membrane. So when we're eating these diets high in saturated fats from all the things I just mentioned, and by the way, even coconut oil is very high in saturated fats. That's why it's hard at room temperature. When you saturate something with hydrogen, you can stabilize it. And that's why it can remain hard at room temperature. That's why cholesterol is hard at body temperature inside the body, and it doesn't melt. It's hard. And that's why it can cause disease, heart disease. So saturated fats, the body's going to use that to maintain the cell membrane, right? Right. And so as oxygen is trying to get into the cell in a body that's high in saturated fats, it cannot. So instead of sugar being broken down into energy when oxygen is present, instead it gets broken down into lactic acid. And lactic acid feeds disease. It's that simple. And so oxygen can't get into the cell to create energy to maintain a healthy immune system and cure a sick and dying one. Instead, lactic acid is formed. A person becomes weaker and weaker with their immune system, and disease sets in. Right now, you and I have cancer. Did you know that?
Yes,
You and I have cancer.
Yeah.
The lady listening to this with us, she has cancer.
Yeah.
You and I have cancer cells running all over our body. And our immune system, as we speak, is destroying those. But there comes a point in people's lives when their diet is so poor and their lifestyle is so poor and their stress levels are so high, because there's other factors that cause disease too, but this is the primary factor. And so our bodies are killing that cancer. There comes a point when people's lives are so toxic and their diets are so horrible that they can no longer defend themselves against cancer or any disease. And so first and foremost, you have to change the diet. You have to eliminate all these processed foods, all these animal products, all these oils, and you have to get the saturated fats out of the diet. And you have to restore the charge at the level of the cell membrane by eliminating the acidity, by eliminating the hydrogen acidity. How do you do that? Juicing. Every time you drink a juice, it gets broken down in the body to potassium hydroxide. Now, when you write potassium hydroxide chemically, it's OH negative, okay? OH negative, oxygen, hydrogen negative. That acidity in the body is written H positive. So when you take OH negative ions from your juice and they react with the H positive acidic ion, what happens in that reaction? You have OH negative, H positive, they react, two H's and an O. H2O, water. Water is a neutral charge. Now oxygen can start flowing into the cells and converting these sugars, 20 pounds a day, into energy. And that rallies the immune system. And that is why the Gerson therapy is so powerful. Because we're restoring the proper metabolism. What is metabolism by definition? The breakdown of food into energy. And that is what we're doing. We're restoring proper metabolism. Is it any wonder that the primary factor behind getting cancer usually is obesity? You will always hear how the risk of cancer goes up due to obesity or being overweight. They say if you're 20 pounds overweight, your risk of cancer goes up 50% to 100%. If you're 40 to 60 to 80 pounds overweight, it goes up 600 to like 1,000%. Why? Metabolism. The body's ability to convert food into energy. So we must start at the level of the cell membrane by reestablishing the charge. Then we have to figure out how to do something else with the body that people have absolutely destroyed their lives with. Salt.
Yes. Yeah. salt. Some people are thinking that salt is really very necessary for them because they can get some minerals from that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to explain that. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's
So,
okay.
salt is also one of the primary causes of all disease. Why? Two reasons. Two reasons. First, when you eat salt, salt and water, they enter the cells and they swell the cell up.
Mm-hmm.
And those little things in your cells called mitochondria, they convert sugar into energy. When you swell the cell up with water and salt, the mitochondria inside, they cannot function. And neither can anything else. You can't detoxify properly. You can't assimilate nutrients properly. And you can't create energy on a cellular level because the cell is too swollen with water. Now, the other reason is, what is salt? Salt is sodium chloride, right?
Right.
Salt
Yes.
is sodium chloride. Chloride destroys the thyroid gland. It destroys the thyroid gland. That's why when they came out with table salt in the early 1900s, people started getting goiter. They started destroying their thyroid glands. Why? Because the chloride was getting rid of iodine from the body. And the thyroid gland, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. It's
And
but I'm here. Yeah.
the thyroid gland is completely dependent on iodine. So the chloride is stripping iodine from the thyroid gland. So what did they do? They added iodine to salt, right? That's why it's called iodized salt, because they added iodine. So you don't get goiter. It's still destroying your thyroid gland. Even though you don't get goiter, it's still slowly destroying the thyroid gland. Why is that so important? Those little things called mitochondria in the cell, the thyroid gland is responsible for reproducing mitochondria.
Ooh.
So when you destroy the thyroid gland, you're destroying the mitochondria. And the mitochondria are your metabolism. That's why when someone's obese or overweight, they're tired, they're cold, they have no energy, they're losing their hair. What do we say? They're hypothyroid, right?
Yes.
They're hypothyroid. So you have the people then who say, have the people
some bump again, interruption. Oh.
who say, I don't eat table salt. I eat. Let me move over here.
Yeah, just please repeat a little bit that. Okay. Just repeat a little bit about iodine salt.
Yeah. So people say, well, I don't eat table salt. I eat the good salt.
Mhm.
I eat Celtic salt or Himalayan salt or Dead Sea salt, thinking that they're doing their body good because there's minerals in that salt, right? And it's true. But there's a lot more minerals in a carrot juice or a green juice, right? The problem with that is table salt is 99% sodium chloride. Celtic salt, Himalayan salt is 87% sodium chloride. It's the sodium chloride molecule that destroys human health. That's why the Dead Sea is dead, because it can't support life. So we have to completely eliminate salt so that we can restore the integrity of the cell. So no sodium other than what naturally occurs in fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables have natural forms of sodium, and those molecules are enough to sustain optimal health. Okay? So we have to change the diet. We have to get rid of salt. What else do we have to do? We have to restore the digestive tract, right? Metabolism is the breakdown of food into energy. So where does that take place? It takes place in the digestive tract. And we always hear that 70% of your immune system is in your digestive tract. So if you're sick with cancer, your digestive tract is sick. So we need to restore that. How do you restore that? Food. That's the only way you can do it. And 20 pounds of organic fruits and vegetables every day. And we're adding raw, pure aloe vera. We're adding raw spirulina, which the Russian government gave to everyone around Chernobyl when the Chernobyl accident happened.
Yeah.
So our patients who come to our clinic, they're getting the Gerson therapy with all these other things that we're giving to enhance all of those things that I've just mentioned. This is why the Gerson therapy is the most powerful therapy in the world for the treatment of disease. It's simple. Everything I've just taught you was taught to me in Biochemistry 101 in school. But they never taught us that's how you cure advanced disease, because they didn't understand it. They knew the science behind the cell, but they didn't know that that's how you cure advanced disease. So this is what made Gerson the greatest genius in medical history.
Yeah, it's incredible information. Thank you very much. And about nutrition, it was so interesting, interesting information. And what else? What kind of methods do you use in your clinic? What else do you use there? Nutrition,
Okay.
I know it's a food, and also detoxification with coffee enema. What else do you use there?
Well, like I said earlier, Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for proving cancer can't survive in an oxygenated body. And the way you properly oxygenate the body, as I've already mentioned, is an alkaline diet.
Mhm.
That alkaline diet changes the charge so that oxygen can enter the cells. So that's what we do to start. Then we add all these therapies that add oxygen to the body. We use hyperbaric oxygen chambers. We use ultraviolet blood irradiation with ozone intravenous. We use pulse electromagnetic frequency, the beamer mat. They say the beamer mat oxygenates tissues 30% greater than a hyperbaric chamber. We add pure hydrogen peroxide to the enemas. We can ozonate, ozone in the enemas. So you prepare the body for oxygen in the cell, and then you give the body oxygen. It's that simple. We're also using, there's a book called The Medicine of Light. It's written by Nathaniel Mead, called The Medicine of Light.
Mhm.
And the science that's coming out now is that when you give the body a lot of chlorophyll, and then you hit the body with near infrared, not far, not mid waves, near infrared specifically. When near infrared hits chlorophyll in the body, it's just as effective as chemotherapy, they say,
Mhm.
without the side effects of chemotherapy, right? So what it's doing ultimately, I think, is it's restoring the fungal nature of cancer cells to normal cells. And, or we're really not sure, it's just causing cancer cell death. So near infrared with chlorophyll is also what we're doing. We're doing high dose curcumin. The studies on high dose curcumin and cancer are this high. So our patients are getting a pure organic form of turmeric extract, which are high in curcuminoids. We just started using high dose melatonin, mega dosing melatonin. The studies now on high dose melatonin and cancer are like curcumin. It's stopping cancer growth and metastasis dead in its tracks. So these are the things that we've added to the original Gerson protocol. And it's what we call our advanced Gerson therapy. That's what it's called.
Oh, thank you very much. You mentioned about Chernobyl, what happened in Ukraine, and all Ukrainian and Russian people knows about that, but they literally make Chernobyl in their house with cell phones, microwave, with EMF radiation. And I heard a few stories that people figured out that the place where they carry their cell phone, in this place, cancer start to grow. So it's really.
I have had many nurses come in with breast cancer. Why? Nurses have pockets right here on their shirts, and they put their cell phones right there in their pocket. And when you do that for 2, 3, 4 years, every day, every night, they're coming in with tumors right where they had their cell phones.
Mhm.
What were we taught as kids when the microwave came out? Stay away from the microwave when it's running, because it's giving off tons of radiation. What are cell phones? What is this computer? They're microwaves, right?
Yes.
And so we're literally putting microwaves up to our head, or we're sticking them in our back pocket, or women are putting them in their bras, right? And we're absolutely increasing the risks of cancer. And now that 5G has come out, cancer is going to go through the roof.
I heard about some study what happened in Europe, and they discovered that 5G will cause heart cancer. I never heard about heart cancer. So it's
I've heard
really
of
very
one case.
dangerous stuff. Mm-hmm. And
I've heard
in
of
our
one case in 25 years.
oh yeah, in our
Yeah,
house
just one.
we got rid of the Wi-Fi. We have internet, we have wires everywhere. We got rid of Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's really very dangerous thing, and people don't realize that it's really harmful for their health. Could
Yeah.
you tell some successful stories because of your patients? Because it's something what could encourage people. And also, I know people are asking, how long should you stay on a Gerson therapy to be sure that you get rid of this disease?
Yeah. So usually tumors are gone within a year. Usually. Tumors are typically gone within the first year. But if you go off the therapy after that, the tumors are going to come back. Gerson was absolutely adamant that you stay on the therapy for 2 years. And today, it's probably 2.5 years because of how bad the world has gotten, no? So you can figure if you have advanced cancer, you need to do the therapy for minimum 2 years. Now, some success stories. I mean, we're reversing virtually every single disease. And I can tell you countless stories on high blood pressure, diabetes. Nobel Peace Prize winner Albert Schweitzer, 8 years before he won the Nobel Prize, had severely advanced diabetes, and Gerson cured him in 6 weeks. So people who come to our clinic with these conditions secondary to their cancer, they're gone almost overnight. Cancer is the most difficult. But, you can go to my website and you can see me interviewing patients that we've successfully treated, like Michael Kaler. Michael Kaler came to us with a 5-inch lymphoma tumor in his lung, pressing on his lung. And he came in such severe pain. And by the time he left after 3 weeks, his pain was virtually gone. 4 years later now, he's completely cured. There's another lady named Edie. Edie, I won't give her last name because she's actually quite a renowned person in Hollywood because she actually trains wild animals for Hollywood movies.
Oh.
And so she came to us with advanced rectal cancer, bleeding, literally bleeding rectally. She's completely alive and well today, 4 years later. Yesterday, I got an email from a patient. He was here 6 months ago with prostate cancer. His PSA levels were 600 when he arrived. He's been on the therapy now 6, 7, 8 months. He wrote me yesterday, and his PSA levels are down to 7.9 from 600. So this is regular. This isn't just one thing. This happens constantly. And it doesn't matter if it's pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, ovarian cancer, cervical cancer. Cancer is cancer. Just because it's in a certain organ, it doesn't mean it's going to be easier or harder to cure. So cancer's cancer, and you treat every cancer the same way. And that is by changing the underlying metabolism that caused the cancer in the first place.
Yeah, Dr. Vickers, thank you so much for coming on our anti-cancer conference. This was really very great information you shared today with us. I wish all the best to you and all your patients. Thanks again and bye. Okay.
What's that?
Appreciate. I even do not have probably right words, but please believe I'm so happy to have you here and share this information. It was, she's start recording. It was so interesting, some about salt, about the what is going on inside of the cells. Yeah, it was really very interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, Olga. Anytime you want, just let me know.
Oh, really? I appreciate that. Really, really appreciate it. And by the way, one question. See, people are telling about coconut oil. I was really surprised you told that no coconut oil because it's still saturated fat. Yeah, and people are sometimes asking, oh, it's a natural, it's a coconut and it's a good one.
Well, in a coconut, how much fat really is there? There's not a lot. Do you know how many coconuts? I mean, that's a lot of coconuts to get coconut oil. It's so concentrated that it's not a health food. It's so highly inflammatory. It causes so much inflammation in the body. It's not a health product, contrary to what people think. And you certainly don't take it if you have cancer.
Okay, yeah. And also people are wondering about avocado. It's considered to be a healthy food.
It is a healthy food for you and me. Avocado is a healthy food for you and me. For a cancer patient, it's not an optimal food because again, it's actually pretty saturated. It can be, you know, it's a saturated fat. That's why you would never use avocado oil on the Gerson therapy because it's highly saturated.
Yeah. Yeah, just typing to the girl, she stopped recording and I told, yeah, it's okay, we finished, just additional questions. Okay, thank you very much again. I really appreciate, and I really appreciate that you are so open and you can answer if we have another questions. Thank you very much.
Sure, no problem. When did you move to Wisconsin?
Yeah, I got married here. I was living in Russia, and after my divorce, I started to look for some person, and he found me. The name of my husband, Mark Allen. He found me, and he invited me to come to United States from the first my side, we just fall in love with each other, and it was just visit. I came with a visitor visa here, and I did not want to leave the America and leave this person. He was so nice, and he made a proposal to me, and I accepted that, and we were waiting for 1 year for approval for that. So, and I like to live here.
And where in Wisconsin was he from?
We are living in a little Swamica. It's a little bit up north from Green Bay, but we are moving to Madison pretty soon. We bought a land. We are gonna build house there because there is Madison.
That's where I went to school. I went to school.
I know that. Yes, I know that. Yeah, and my husband has a daughter and family there. And by the way, the husband of his daughter is very famous heart surgeon. He is doing really very good surgery, transplant heart for some people.
Not Dr. That's not Dr. Carbone, is it?
No, Hermson.
Okay.
Hermson.
What's his name?
Hermson.
Hermson.
Hermson. Yeah. They were living in Seattle, but then they called him to come to Madison and work for them. Yeah.
I see. Well, I grew up just outside Milwaukee, so that's where I was born and raised.
Yeah, I like Wisconsin because it's so green state, lots of trees.
Yeah.
I like Wisconsin. Yeah.
I miss
and
it.
We are living by Green Bay, of Michigan, by Michigan, and we love to go to the parks and have a rest.
Near Door County.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good, Olga.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Let me know if you ever want to do it again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Olga.
Bye, Dr. Vickers.